Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I've got a special guest joining me on this episode to talk through a NFT project. This is Fuzzy Fellas, and I have Jason, the founder of the project, here joining us to talk through the project. And this one's a little bit interesting because we go through how this one can actually earn you mining rewards. And I kind of like this stuff, NFTs with really cool use cases. Jason, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks so much for having me, Pete.
So let's get into a little bit about you first, so we know who we're talking to. Can you give us a little bit of a background about who you are, and how you got into the Cardano space?
For sure. So my basic background is in web design and web development. For the last 5 years or so, I've been working with a local marketing project with my dad, where we've done a lot of local clients and that sort of thing. Unfortunately, the local marketing doesn't really translate that well to the Web3 side of things, but the UI and the UX has always been my passion, and that's really important over here. So when I got into NFTs was when I discovered World Mobile Token on Cardano, and through them I ended up finding Sunday Swap, and then I found Stabby Naru, which is from the Yummy universe, and that was my first mint. And from there, I just got super into the NFTs and into the space. And I've done websites for a number of projects before, and I have a little passion project where I'm trying to slowly over the years make a video game that's going to be using Cardano as well. That's basically me.
Very cool indeed. I think a lot of people came on board around that World Mobile time,
yeah,
and learnt about it and understood what it could do. So a lot of people joined the community back then, and then suddenly we got NFTs too. So everything got really exciting. Now, what about your project? Talk me through Fuzzy Fellas, and you've told me a little bit about this and the mining aspects around it. Very similar to some other projects I know. Let's get a breakdown of this.
Sure thing. So Fuzzy Fellas has been in development for about 2 years. We started with just an art and community focus. Back then, that was a lot more common, but as time went by, we really wanted to make sure we were delivering some actual value back to the holders, and we realized that like a lot of these art-only projects just aren't going to stand the test of time. I mean, some of them are, and that's great, but ultimately the best way to really deliver value is to have some sort of really useful utility. And I don't mean just utility for the sake of utility, which is what a lot of projects try to do. It needs to be actually something that's a serious business model, something that can, or something that can truly deliver meaningful value, something people want, not just, something that's going to pump the bags up. So we were on a quest to develop mainly. We have Jared on our team, who's Pasta Please, who's done some minting for projects, and he's a really great programmer. So we were looking at what we can develop as far as a dApp or something that we can really enrich the ecosystem with. We started on sort of a whitelist platform, and we explored a few other options, but ultimately we kept on going back to the drawing board, mainly because there were other teams doing things like that had already had resources, and we didn't really have anything to add to what they were doing. So ultimately, when the Kingdom Trust came out, I just thought, and Kingdom Trust from Goofy Gophers, by the way, for anyone who's not familiar, is basically a B2B way to buy miners through their already successful mining project, crypto miners. And since I have been into crypto mining in the past, done some dabbling in it, ran a few ASICs, ran some graphics cards miners, sort of know the ins and outs of what the deal is, and I can tell that the deal they're offering is really, really good. Like, you're going to be really hard pressed to cover the costs for what they're charging. So it's ultimately an amazing opportunity, and a lot of other projects have hopped on it, but we're not too scared off by that, because at the end of the day, mining is a really good time to get into it. Like, right now is the time to get into it. So we're not too fazed by that. We think there's definitely a market for this, and we're excited to be moving forward with that plan.
All right. We got to talk a little bit more about this. I know Goofy Gophers have all those mining rewards, and you can stake it or something. I've got a Goofy Gopher, but I'm so out of the loop that I don't know what's going on. Now, you talked about this B2B, the Kingdom solution that you got. So how does this actually work, and how are you guys tapping into that exactly?
Okay, so the The Kingdom Trust is sort of separate from the Gophers project. The Gophers project originally, everybody got their Gopher NFT, and yeah, you do have to stake. It's called burrowing, basically a non-custodial staking system, and then you do have to claim during a certain window in order to get the rewards. Part of the reason for that is legal. Like the lawyers do tell us, like we can't just give it out. There has to be some sort of action participation involved.
Oh, right. Okay.
Um, so that's part of it. But also, we don't want to be dropping, money into empty wallets that are not paying attention and are never going to use it. Basically burning ADA that way. Um, so yeah, there's both of those aspects of it. So there's some participation involved. Now on the Kingdom Trust side of it, there's a minimum $10,000 investment through them, and basically you get 91% of the rewards. Or 90% if there's like a 1% optional referral fee. But you essentially get enough of the rewards that I cannot imagine a way, unless you already have the connections and you already, have certain things in place, that you would ever cover the costs for that. So it's definitely a win-win situation. And then basically out of that 10%, they're taking, or 9%, they're taking 4% for the team and 5% goes into the Goofy Gophers treasury. So the Goofy Gophers has a treasury thing going on as well, and that's sort of a whole nother thing. But yeah, on the Kingdom Trust side, it's just going to be pure, like we as a project will receive the 90%, and then we will be able to distribute it how we see fit. Now, some projects are taking that as like a way to build a fund of ongoing revenue that they can use to build their own project. In our case, we're trying to be another mining NFT, fractionalized mining, basically, for people. We are distributing as much as we thought would be best and healthy for the long term, which is 60%. As far as I'm aware, I believe that's the highest for a project that's, so our investment into the miners from our mint is going to be 90%, so almost all of it, and then 60% of the ongoing rewards that come from the miners, we will divvy out to the holders. And then another 20% on top of that is going to just be a dedicated compounding fund, which we'll use judiciously, like at the right times, and try to build the fleet. It's an ongoing thing. So basically every 3 months we'll be evaluating, like, should we resell some of these miners? Is it a good time to sell? Is it a good time to buy these other miners? Like, new ones are coming out right around the corner, that sort of thing. And that's what the compounding fund will allow us to just continually, hopefully, build up the farm and get more and more hash power and snowball things as we go.
All right. There's so much to this. It actually sounds pretty simple, really. And having that Kingdom Trust, I think, has just enabled yourself, your project, so many options to generate some revenue and to build a community around your project. So this is absolutely fantastic. Now, we've got a couple of charts and a little bit of data here and graphics that you've put together. This kind of goes alongside with what you were just saying before. So this one here, the mining revenue during compounding period. This one, 90% of miner acquisition via Kingdom Trust, and then Fuzzy Fund. So this is a split of that revenue that's coming back.
Right. So this is the compounding period, and I didn't mention this when I was just talking. Basically, for 6 months after we do our buy, we're going to have a period where 90% just goes into compounding funds. I talked about the 20%. For this period, it would be 90%, and this just sets us up for a really long term, like, strong opportunity, because it lets us take the first little bit of that, and really, during these times when miners are really cheap compared to when they tend to be in the bull run, just capitalize on that time. And then by the time we're paying out rewards, we're going to be hopefully looking towards being almost towards the bull run, and it's going to be looking pretty good for us. We're open.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, that totally makes sense. Now, you've got this other chart here that you've sent me as well, and this is the mining revenue after the compounding period.
Right. So this is the ongoing split. Once we have passed through that compounding period, it's going to be 60% going out to the holders, 20% going to more compounding, because we want it ongoing, because obviously miners die after 5 or 7 years. So there's a attrition to keep track of, but and also just to build up the rewards more, hopefully. And then the other 20%, of course, is going to pay for the team. But on top of that, we're bullish on this, obviously, as or we wouldn't be doing it. We think that's going to be more than enough to do some really cool stuff in terms of dApps, in terms of community and building the fuzzy world. We have some really cool ideas, and on top of all that, really some additional partnerships would be in line too. Like we're already talking to a couple of people that might work really well. Additional things that can further reward the holders.
Now, the other side to this is the fuzzy fellas and the artwork and everything else around it. Can we talk a little bit about the artwork and what you guys have put together for this particular collection?
Sure thing. I'm not the artist. The brilliant mind behind this is Chris Schofield. He has not done an NFT project before, but he is just a really, really world class 3D artist. And these are all full 4K renders with tons of detail. Um, so there's a number of different traits and combinations. Of course, in fact, ultimately, it's virtually limitless. It's literally probably hundreds of millions of possible combos, mainly because of the fact that the color system was really fancy, and so Chris worked with our coder Jared, who does some Python coding in Blender and makes some magic happen as well, and he built the color system where it keeps it looking good, but yet the possibilities are limitless. It picks from a spectrum, and I wish I had him to explain it a little better, but yeah, it picks from a system that's going to make the colors look good together, but yet it's totally on the anywhere on the color spectrum. It's not just from like a pool of colors. So uh, I couldn't be happier with the art, and the art's actually been done for a while, and I've just been itching to show it, and it's been, but yeah, we really wanted to get everything in place
Yeah.
before we launched.
Yeah, I have to say the quality of these 3D renders is absolutely amazing. So you can see the 4K quality come out in this, and what you guys can do in Blender and create an NFT collection around it. Someone did tell me that you can map all the different layers and generate all of the NFTs in Blender. I know how you can do it on like JPEGs and generate with layers and PNGs, but they're doing that in Blender as well. That's a whole
It's
new level.
definitely it's oh yeah, it's a lot more complicated, and there was a lot of custom code that went into this one because
Yeah.
we're all none of us are willing to settle on anything. So
Hey, well, with I think the artwork is fantastic. The creative is really cool. The extra bonus mining awards around this as well is also really cool. And I forgot to ask, what mining rewards are coming out of it? Like, how are people getting paid from those particular mining rewards?
so most likely the plan is to pay every 3 months. If the payouts are high enough that we can pay every month, we may consider doing that. We will probably be converting everything to ADA right before the payout to make things simple and keep it on one network. We're open to talk. We personally will get paid in all the specific coins that we're mining, which is going to be a variety. We obviously want to be pretty Bitcoin heavy because it's Bitcoin, but Script does Doge and Litecoin at the same time, and it's been really killing it lately. So we want to get in on some of that, and Nervos, and there's some others that are doing really well. So we want to have a good diversification there, and we'll get paid out directly in those coins, and mostly be holding them until the bull run area. So, but then we'll probably sell them and pay out an ADA just before the payout, just to make it simple. And then if you want to buy back into those coins, you can do that.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I was wondering how those mechanics would work. Would you pay everyone in BTC or Doge or whatever as you're mining through? But okay, yeah, I'm paying it out
Yeah, that would
in ADA.
complicate things a little bit, I think.
Oh, totally. Okay. Okay, that's really good to hear. Now, how do we actually track this, and how do we know how much mining rewards you guys are getting from the whole process, and how do we know how much we're owed? I'm sure there's some sort of like transparency layer here so we can see what's all happening. Have you built something around that to make it all visible? Are we running spreadsheets here? Like, what's the deal behind this?
So Goofy Gophers, through their Kingdom Trust, provides an API that we can use to display the stats to people.
So cool.
Dirtbirds, with their outposts, already has this in action. There's this killer, like it's really nice UI, as you'd probably expect from Dirtbirds. Um, but yeah, we're going to be building something like that. We do have the 6 month compounding period, so we don't have it built out yet. But you will be able to see once we're into that. And then as far as transparency, we're going to be for sure letting everybody know where all the money goes, which miners have been bought, where you know, as soon as we buy the miners, we'll let you know when we're getting them and everything. We'll be really completely upfront about that. Um, it's as far as tracking rewards, it's notoriously difficult because there are so many different variables changing at all times. So if you're trying to like figure out how much you're going to make in like an exact term, it's probably not going to be that easy, because things just change so drastically. Now, the other thing about that is, well, and before the sale, we can't give any kind of estimates. There's lots of spreadsheets out in the communities where people have done the numbers, and the numbers on what the miners are going to cost through Kingdom Trust are going to be public. So there's going to be spreadsheets available, but unfortunately, we're not able to really share any of that. Um, and just the fact that all the different moving parts, like the price of the miners, the price of ADA, the price of all the coins we're mining, moving around all the time, it's virtually impossible. And what's really exciting to me, and when you put the numbers together, in my opinion, which is totally non-financial advice, it looks like a decent investment in like current crypto terms. But what really gets me excited is the way this compounds over time and the way it works when you get into the bull market, because realistically the miners themselves are going to appreciate during the bull market. And if you time it right, you sell these after they've already mined themselves, a lot, and then you sell them at a profit. And then you buy more miners on the way down once the prices have calmed down a bit. And it's just really, it's the potential's insane. The mining farms are absolutely killing it out there, and they have been pretty much the whole time Bitcoin's been around.
I got to get back into mining. I think I do run a stake pool, and that's the easy side of things. But
but it's gotten really
diversification.
hard,
Yeah.
for individuals to do, which is why I'm so excited about
Yes.
this wave of mining NFTs, because the entry level used to be pretty low. It used to be pretty easy. Like even just last bull run, you could run just almost any GPU. It would be great. Like GPUs aren't that great anymore because Ethereum dropped proof of stake. There's a few coins that you can mine. We kind of have to hop between weird random coins and stuff. And as far as ASICs, they've gotten so powerful that you're not going to run those, at least not in the US, on a standard grid. You're going to need like major modifications to your power. And plus they're loud and do a lot of heat, so you don't really want them running in your house. So you really basically need a dedicated facility, and if you're doing that, you need a lot of miners to make it justified. So this is really to make it mining accessible to the masses again. And I think it's cool because that's basically how mining was supposed to be in the first place.
Yes, and this fractionalized ownership through NFTs, I think, is absolutely brilliant. And what Goofy Gophers are doing now to bring in the Kingdom Trust and allow other projects to bring in their own communities and additional NFTs and grow their Bitcoin mining farms, I think is a brilliant play. So it's a win-win for everyone in the community and everyone that's want that kind of exposure. Now back to the actual NFT collection itself. Now I'm assuming there's some rarities to all of this as well. I
For
do have
sure.
this
Yeah.
chart here, so I'm assuming yes, there is.
Yeah, we have these mining ranks, and these are going to be what's directly relevant to how much the NFT earns. Now, we distributed this in a way that the world observers, which is the most common one, is not really going to make much less than it would if everybody got the same. If everybody was getting the same, they'd be making just a little bit more than the world observer. But yet we can build in a really cool bonus for people who pull something nice. So and we also distribute it in a way that it's going to be fun to pull because you're more likely to get an uncommon than a common. So that's kind of our hope with that. But we also have rarity built into pretty much all of the attributes of the collection, and we haven't released that quite yet. We actually it may come slightly after the mint, to be honest, because we had generated 10,000 and the collection's not going to be 10,000. So the numbers that I have are based on that original amount, and we want to make sure it's like accurate. So we have to rerun that a bit, but we'll release the rarities either right before or right after the upcoming pre-sale.
All right. So what are the actual details of the mint? When is it? How much is it per NFT?
For sure. So on the 25th, Sunday, we are doing a snowball holder only mint. These snowballs we've been giving out for a while. You can get them on JPEG, or we're still doing a few more giveaways before the sale. Though if you're holding a snowball, you'll be able to get a slight discount. The exact ADA amount is going to be determined right before the sale. We are aiming for right around 125. That puts us at pretty much the lowest entry point for mining NFTs, which we think is important because that's part of what we're doing here. We want to make it super accessible. So it's probably going to be about 125 on the regular sale and slightly discounted for the snowball holders. And so the snowball holder mint will go for 24 hours, and we're calling that the Wombali Festival. After that, it's still pre-sale, open to public though. It's going to be another time-limited 24 hours. All of the fuzzies that we sell during this are going to be first edition. We'll have another main sale later, but these ones are going to get the best prices on miners most probably. You never know what the market's going to do, but with the Bitcoin halving coming up so soon, the next buy will be after that. High likelihood of this being the best entry point.
So Jason, is there anything else that the community needs to know?
There might be one thing you might want to be aware of, and that is that we do have 28 metallic fuzzies in the collection. And those metallic fuzzies come in bronze, silver, or gold.
Cool.
And they are between just those 28 fuzzies, splitting 3% royalty on every aftermarket sale.
Oh, on the royalties of the sale. That is really cool. Okay. So hopefully we see a lot of volume and some lucky holders of those metallic fuzzies. All right. That's super cool. I can't imagine how you're going to make a metallic fuzzy. Is it going to be like a bronze statue kind of style thing, or is it still got that furry texture? Okay.
Yeah, they still have the fuzz. They're statue type.
Yeah. Okay. I'll see it when it comes out. All right. Super excited about this Bitcoin halvening. We're supposed to get a bull run after this. Like patterns are supposed to repeat, right?
We'll see.
We'll see.
It's no guarantee, but a lot of us are looking at that.
Yes, indeed. All right, mark your calendars, everyone. I'll put links in everything to the website fuzzyfellas.io so you can get to it there. And hopefully you can get into this mint. Also, that's a link to the JPEG store for the snowballs as well. So if you want to get your hands on that and get in early, you can do so as well. So Jason, thank you so much for joining me on this episode to talk through Fuzzy Fellas and talk about all these potential mining rewards, especially in this upcoming bull run. Hopefully, upcoming bull run.
For sure. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason.
Yeah, gotta do it like that. You've been listening to the Learn Cardano podcast. Gotta get